Reactions are still trailing the Court of Appeal's pronouncement, which this week set aside a judgment of the Federal High Court in Abeokuta, Ogun State, which ordered the People's Democratic Party to conduct fresh primaries in the state. Justice O.O. Oguntoyin of the High Court had on September 27, 2022, ordered the Ogun State Executive Committee of PDP to conduct the fresh primaries within 14 days. The court delivered the judgment in a suit filed by three members of the party, that's Taiwo Olabode Idris, Kehinde Akala, and Ayinde Monsuri, against the PDP governorship candidate Ladi Adebutu and the Independent National Electoral Commission, contesting the authenticity of the delegates' lists used to conduct the primaries. The court agreed, and the party reinstated that all the candidates recognized by the party's headquarters. To have a better understanding of the goings-on, we're now being joined by Showunmi, a member of the People's Democratic Party in Ogun State. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Showunmi.
Good afternoon.
Now, we do have word that a federal high court in Abuja has affirmed Oladipupo Adebutu as the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Ogun State. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think the best way to explain it is that in Ogun we had a plethora of issues. There is the Jimmy Lawal set of cases, there's the Segun Seriki set of cases, and there's the Showunmi versus the status quo case. Let me be clear that the case that involves me and the system is yet to come up for hearing at the Supreme Court. So that case is still being expected. Be that as it may, in Ogun, we have always held the view that if we cannot resolve the issues internally and we go to court, I hold personally that going to court does not confer that you are going to be the owner or the one who's going to write the judgment. You will have to wait until the court, which we have all believed, adjudicates. And once the court makes a pronouncement, all the options are available, including going for appeal, is there. But we must not become a people who insist that when the court makes a pronouncement, if it does not favor us, then that means there's a miscarriage of justice. Justice has been done somewhat because the case has dragged on for a while. And in the Court of Appeal, the case has been rested against them, Jimmy Lawal and co. And I also heard that, because I'm speaking to you from London, that the case has also been rested against their case in the lower courts even today. So as far as I can see now, the only case that is really pending or having any real opportunity for some decision one way or the other is the case between Showunmi and the PDP, which is really a pre-election case. It's taking time for us to get the case to be handled in the Supreme Court, but I believe that when that case is finally adjudicated upon, then we'll put a rest to this particular circle of cases. Having said that, you will notice that I've also tried to get all of the people that are, in court to come together and say, what is the minimum irreducible that we must do so that we can give ourselves the best chance of an election? And I am very hopeful and confident that now that some of those cases have been dismissed, we will be able to now figure out how to call ourselves and begin to prepare for, proper election. There's no more, we don't have enough time for too much of this back and forth. And thankfully, we must thank the justices, we must thank the court, because I know how many cases, pre-election cases, the justices have had to deal with. And I know that it's not been very easy even for the judicial process. The parties on their own would have done themselves a lot of good to have been able to resolve their own issues. But we'll read the case, we'll look at the ratio, what are the basis of the decision. Those who have opportunity of going to appeal may be persuaded they need to go further. Those who have come to the end of their struggle will also tell them, no, you just lost a case. And by going to court, you haven't done anything really wrong, because we have strengthened and deepened jurisprudence around the election. And hopefully when I get back home, because I'm in London as we speak, I'll visit them around again and we can put our hands around each other and figure out how to go serve Ogun and serve PDP well. As far as I'm concerned, my case is still coming up, but I will say those who didn't do well today in court, better luck next time. We're all party members. We can disagree, but we must not be disagreeable. Thank you.
Now, let's talk about the state of the PDP party in Ogun State. In the past, you've referred to there being anomalies in your party, and you've also made reference to there being bias and a degree of favoritism towards Ladi Adebutu. Are you in support of his candidature now that it's been confirmed? And what are the efforts that are being made to restore unity? I know you've already spoken about coming home and, making the various visits. But beyond that, on a broader spectrum as a party, what's the way forward just over 80 days to an election?
Well, if you heard me when I started, I said the case that involves me is still up for declaration at the Supreme Court. So that case is still alive. So technically, it's now almost like a two-way horse between me and Honorable Adebutu relative to the cases. But like I said, we must not be disagreeable. And I've visited him, I've visited all my other brothers with a view to say that, okay, yes, these cases are coming up and they're going to be decided one way or the other. I didn't try to shortchange anybody by telling them take their case out of court, whatever. I was only front-loading the possibility that ultimately the court is going to decide one way or another. And that when the court has decided, we will now have to still pull ourselves together and figure out a way how we can go in a united front. I accept that anyone who loses in court will be slightly bruised, and therefore I'll reach out to Honorable Jimmy Lawal and some of the people who didn't do well in court today and tell them, guys, better luck next time. If we want to serve the people, it's not that bad. And hopefully I'll also reach out to Honorable Adebutu and let him understand that you can't have a scenario where 4 people are struggling, all of them having followers. If you're not even careful, it may become, an academic victory, which would be like a pariah victory. But I believe that for the overall interest of Nigeria, we have 2 levels of elections we have to do in Ogun. There is a presidential election, which myself and Honorable Adebutu, we are on the same side. We are united to the extent that we want the PDP to win the presidential election. There are personal issues that he wants to be candidate, I want to be candidate and all that. It's coming now that the cases are now being settled. I hope that when we settle the case, I hope that the party would have learned some good lessons. I hope that we ourselves, among ourselves, would have learned some lessons. I know the reality of what took place. I know that sometimes you can't even prove these things in court, and the fact that somebody didn't win in court didn't mean that he was lying. But I also believe that we have created the judicial system to be the final arbiter on cases so that we will be able to exit a particular set of conflicts and say, okay, this is decided. And now that this has gone this way, I believe that the person we now need to reach out to are those who came short now, because I know very well that there was some merit in their case. Probably you can lose election cases on the reason of technicality, out of time, many, many things that the court looks at. But be that as it may, nothing must be done to destroy the opportunity and the privilege of the PDP to run an election. So it's up to the leaders to call people and get them to come together. And I hope it's also up to Honorable Adebutu to be able to speak to those. I still have my case. I need to keep emphasizing that. The case between Otunba Segun Showunmi and the PDP relative to the 2023 governorship election is alive and well, and it's at the Supreme Court. You cannot pick the dates for the courts. Once they call us, we'll go listen. Once they decide, we'll know what to do. That's that. So I'm not worried. I'm not phased. I'm not unsure of the merits of what I've taken to court. I'm only being the elder in the room and the big party man to say it doesn't matter. If I win, okay. If I don't win, okay. If Jimmy Lawal had won, would have said the same thing. Now that they've said Ladi is right on the Jimmy Lawal case, we still have to reach out to Honorable Otunba Jimmy Lawal to say, hey, what are we going to do? Are we going to lose an election just because only one man can sit on the chair per time? I believe that's how a party man should see things. We can disagree, but we must not be disagreeable. And I tell you with every sense of responsibility that the PDP as a family will begin to deepen their conflict management mechanism internally so that we stop wasting the time of the court and stop putting the court on pressure. And it's not about PDP alone, it's about all political parties. The last time I checked, there are more than 1,000 pre-election cases before the judges. Do we even have enough judges to go around? My case is not exactly a pre-election case, so it's alive and well, and I'm quite hopeful that I will still be victorious.
Well, we wish you well, Mr. Segun Showunmi, a member of the People's Democratic Party and also aspirant in Ogun State. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsday. We appreciate your time.